Welcome to the ArmaniTalks YouTube channel, the #1 YouTube channel for you to level up your communication skills, learn the art of public speaking, social skills, and personal branding to take your message to the world. If you're new to this channel, don't forget to hit subscribe right on below for 3 weekly videos on how to become a better communicator. For today's episode, we're going to be talking about Howard Gardner's multiple intelligence theory. Around 1980s, there was a psychologist named Howard Gardner who thought, yo, the IQ exam is way too stiff. I don't like it. You know what? I'm going to create my own theory of intelligence. And that's how the multiple intelligence theory emerged. And basically what this theory states is that there are 8 different forms of intelligences. Not 1, but 8. And in today's video, I'm going to be talking about each of the 8 different forms of intelligences. And I'm going to be talking about which forms of these intelligences make up a great communicator, because that's what this channel is about. I always say that communication skills is basically turning your mind into words. That's what it comes down to. So the communication part is an effect. The mind is the cause, which is why it's extremely important, if you want to become a great communicator, that you understand how the mind works. And you're going to get strong insights regarding that in today's episode. To level up your mindset, make sure you drop a like right on below for me, and let us begin. So I'm going to go through each of the 8 different intelligences. The first one is Intrapersonal Intelligence. And this is a form of intelligence where you are very self-aware. You're one of these individuals that is aware of your past mistakes. You learn from it so you can become more efficient in your future. This group of people is very mature. They have high emotional intelligence, and they're more responsive rather than reactive. The second one is Interpersonal Intelligence. Have you ever had that one moment when you walk into a brand new networking event with a friend, and this friend is just making non-stop connections, shaking hands, introducing himself or herself, and once you guys are done with the event, you're wondering, yo, how are you connecting with so many different people? This group of people is very charismatic and they know how to connect with others. People that are very proficient in this field, they're typically individuals that love social interactions. A lot of politicians have high interpersonal intelligence because they're always having to deal with different people, different concerns, etc. The third one is logical intelligence. And logical intelligence is just like what it sounds like. Very logical individuals. They like X equals Y. And people that are very high in logical intelligence, they'll typically be scientists, accountants, engineers. And typically this is also the kind of intelligence that they enforce a lot in school. They use the logical form of thinking and they apply it to different subjects, which is why tests are very important in the school system. The fourth one is spatial intelligence. Have you ever met that one person who is a big picture thinker? John sees the bigger picture. Well, John has high levels of spatial intelligence. These are the individuals that can think in images and are able to project those images into the real world. Typically, you'll imagine artists. Artists have great levels of spatial intelligence. So do CEOs. CEOs, they're not caught up in these small day-to-day tasks. Instead, they're planning the big vision of the company. The fifth one is linguistics intelligence. Linguistics intelligence is the strong use of words. Linguistics intelligence can be broken down into 2 fields, learning and creating. Learning comes down to listening and reading, and creating comes down to writing and speaking. These are what makes up linguistics intelligence. Sixth is auditory intelligence. And these people love music. They can hear musicalities very, very well. I'm sure you know that one person that can hear a song once and they can recite it. You're thinking, did you hear the song before? No, this is my first time hearing it. A lot of people with high auditory intelligence typically become music producers, they become musicians themselves, and you'll notice it. They process a lot of the world through their ears. The 7th one is kinesthetic intelligence. And kinesthetic intelligence is basically when someone is very good with their body. Just like for the last one, the humans process from their ears, This group of people process a lot of the world through their body. Picture athletes, picture people that are always working out, they're getting stronger, great dancers. These are individuals who see intelligences in the body. And the final one is naturalistic intelligence. Look, I'll be real. If you put me into the nature and you said, yo, Armani, go figure out how to set up a tent, go start a fire, I would have no clue. I'll be real. Some people will say, well, I know how to do that. No, you don't. It's a lot harder than it seems. But some people, they're very, very good at that. You put them in nature and they could just live their life like they normally do. A lot of these people are great at this form of intelligence because they grew up in certain locations within the world where they were exposed to nature a lot, or their family, say, they just go camping a lot. They had to learn. And these are the 8 forms of different intelligences that are out there. And if you're someone that resonated with one particular one or multiple ones, well, those are the types of intelligences that you may be very, very proficient in. And if certain things didn't resonate with you, then what I challenge you to do is find someone that it may resonate with. Because a lot of these different personalities that we meet in the world, just because they're not our form of intelligence, doesn't mean that they don't have a certain level of smarts to them and their unique personalities. When you can start understanding that, it becomes much, much easier to connect with other individuals. Connect with other individuals. Communication skills. What makes up great communication skills? Which intelligences are involved? Now you may be thinking, well, what kind of question is that, Armani? The answer is pretty obvious. Clearly, it's linguistics and interpersonal. These are the only 2 forms of intelligences that make up a great communicator. Wrong. It is wrong. In order to become a great communicator, you need 7 out of the 8 different forms of intelligences. Yes, you need 7 of them to become a great communicator. And those are the forms of intelligences that I'm going to list out now. And I'm going to do my best to list it out from the highest level order of importance to the next levels. And the lower in the levels that we get, I'm not trying to say that it's not as important. What I'm trying to say is that if you start off with the main parts first, everything else becomes easier. So let's go through 8 of the most important ones. And I'm also going to list out why they're important as well for communicating. So the most important one is intrapersonal intelligence. The reason intrapersonal intelligence is the most important is because communication skills really comes down to you. You're projecting your mind into the world. And how strong of a person you are is how strong your communication skills will be. Sometimes when people are starting off a speech, they'll ask, well, how do I deliver the speech? I'm like, what's your speech about? I don't know. What do you mean you don't know? That's the most important part. Because the more that you know the what, the easier it is to give the how. So the what, in terms of communicating for the multiple intelligence theory, is intrapersonal intelligence. You want to focus on this. How self-aware are you? Are you learning from your mistakes? Are you seeing yourself from an objective eye? Or is your ego getting way too involved? You want to be realistic for this one. For 2 and 3, you could swap them either way, but I'll list it out like this. The second one is logical intelligence, and the third one is spatial intelligence. Why? Well, storytelling in a nutshell, it is the connection of different ideas. Now, if you're someone who just saying random ideas without any form of coherence, then you're not a good communicator. You're just a talker. But the stronger your intrapersonal intelligence is, the more that you know the why, the more that you know the what of the message. And the more that you know the what and the why, the easier it is to connect ideas in a very logical manner. The more that you practice this, the more that I often notice that spatial intelligence emerges from that. When I was first starting off communicating, whether it was through writing or public speaking, I noticed that I had to focus a lot on the words and the ideas in itself to connect them. But after giving a lot of different speeches, recording a lot of different YouTube videos, writing a lot of different blogs, nowadays I'm able to plan out certain topics in my head with different pictures, and I'm able to connect them in a very logical way, then I'm able to relay them. So that's something that I've noticed over time. It's not something that I started off with, but it was simply an emergent property. So that was 3. Now the 4th one is linguistics intelligence. I'm sure a lot of you guys thought linguistics intelligence was the most important part, but no, because in order to be a great communicator, once you get these 3 first parts right, the linguistics part becomes much, much easier. But that's a problem. A lot of people focus on the words only. Well, what do I say? That's like me taking my car to a mechanic and saying, yo, look, my car's not working. And the mechanic's like, well, did you try changing the paint colors? I'll say, well, yo, what the hell does that have to do with anything? Go check the engine or something. And it's the same thing with communication skills. Just swapping around different words is not communicating. You got to focus on the message. You got to focus on the connection. You have to be able to see it in your mind. And then it's much easier for the words to flow out. So that's 4. The 5th one is, and once again, you can swap it from 5th or 6th, but the 5th one in my eyes is auditory intelligence. Auditory intelligence? What does that have to do with anything? Well, a big part of communication skills comes down to tonality. If someone says, I'm having a good day, and you're thinking, oh, this person's having a good day because that's what they said, that's the words that they used, then you're not using auditory intelligence. If you analyze that person's tonality, you can understand that they're not having a good day. They're most likely having a bad day, but instead, they're just using the words to showcase that they're having a good day. Which is why auditory intelligence is very, very important, which leads me to 6, kinesthetic intelligence. You could swap 5 or 6 in the level of importance. But the reason kinesthetic intelligence is very important is because just as well as you need to hear tonalities, you also need to be able to properly express tonalities. Your voice is a mix between a violin and a flute. It's like a flute because air is being processed through your vocal cords. It's being pushed out. And the vocal cords in itself is sort of like a violin. It's sort of like the strings. And being able to play your voice is a huge, huge key in the world of communication skills. If you can't do that, then you'll be one of the people that are sounding very mean, and that's not your intention. The wrong tonality can create an enemy out of the blue moon, whether you're aware of it or not. So that's the 6th one. And the 7th one is interpersonal intelligence. Now you may be thinking, wait a minute, Armani, this is the least important? It's not necessarily the least important, but if you do these 6 correctly, 7 is typically an emergent property. If you're someone who is very self-aware, if you're someone who knows how to connect ideas, knows how to use words in a very musical way, if you can listen to other people's tonality, then often forming connections with other people, it becomes easy. It becomes much easier because nowadays you're not wasting your time with people that are toxic, but instead you're doubling down on people who can eventually become social assets. So communication skills ultimately makes you just a smarter individual. Yes, it's one of the best ways to become a smarter individual, and not only someone smart in the world of school, but someone that's smart in the school of hard knocks, in the real world, street smarts. That's what you want to learn. That's something that they don't teach you in school, unfortunately. But it's never too late to learn. There's channels like this, there's Toastmasters. It's never too late to start a personal brand where you're showcasing your ideas, maybe through a blog, maybe through a YouTube channel, Twitter, etc. There's a lot of different ways to become a great communicator. But understand that communication skills is something filled with depth. Don't just focus on the words, and don't just focus on impressing others. Start from the very core and expand from there. And you'll eventually thank yourself for sticking through it. Communication skills is one of the best ways to improve as a person because it is a practical real-life school in terms of self-development. If you want to learn more about communication skills, whether it's with emotional intelligence, creativity, social skills, public speaking, storytelling, all the other different skill sets, make sure you check out the Armani Archives Bundle Edition. In the bundle edition, you're going to get hundreds and hundreds of short stories that you can check out any single time in order to level up your ability to communicate and connect with others. Strengthen your mind, strengthen your words, strengthen your world. Thank you for joining the ArmaniTalks YouTube channel, and I'll catch you on the next episode.